Okay, it's been a long time since I've done one of these grammar TikToks, grammar live streams. I thought it was about time to go back and continue some of these lessons. If you've been following us for a long time, you know I've been doing these lessons in the past using this book, Conversational Korean Grammar. And basically I go through the book and we look at Korean grammar together and we practice it. And we've actually done quite a few of them already in the past. This book is pretty chunky, by the way. It's got a lot of information in it. And we've already made it through quite a decent chunk of it. You can see the whole table of contents right here. And we've gone through all of the beginner stuff. And right now we're in level 3. And my plan actually is to finish level 3 and then probably go back to the start and go back to some more beginner stuff for the more people that are newer at Korean. But you can see this book covers quite a lot of information. And you're most welcome to continue on yourself if you're interested. But in today's live stream, I'm going to be starting with this grammar form right here. This grammar form is noun 때문에. Noun 때문에 is a very useful grammar form. It's used very often. And we're going to practice that today. And we're probably also going to do 기 때문에 as well. Probably going to do both of them. This is the book Conversational Korean Grammar. Okay, so if we look at noun 때문에, it's on page 150. So we jump ahead to that. And again, this is it's beginner, but it's like upper beginner, I would say. If you're very new to Korean, this might be too advanced for you, but you're most welcome to stay and have a look and check it out. But for all of you guys who are interested, noun 때문에 is used to say because of noun. So because of some noun. For example, let's look at an example sentence. Hopefully you guys can read it. It's a little bit small. I can maybe go down a little bit more. Okay, this first sentence, 일 때문에 한국에 갔어요. 일 때문에 한국에 갔어요. What does this sentence mean? Well, first off, does anyone know what 일 is in Korean? Anyone know this word 일? It's a pretty common word, good word to know, 일. Anyone know what that word is in English? 일, work. Yes, perfect, Hebe. 일 has a couple different meanings. One of them meaning work. It's also the number 1, but in this context, it means work. Perfect. It also means day. Good point. It also means day. It means one day and work. It can mean any of those 3 things. So those are all great answers. Awesome job. So 일 때문에. Here we have our 때문에 coming in. 때문에 means because. And 일, we know, means work. So work because, or because of work, 한국에 갔어요. 한국에. Anyone know what 한국, just this first part is? 한국. 한국, you probably, if you're learning Korean, you probably know this word, right? It's not Korean, the language. Yes, Michelle, perfect. It's the country of Korea. 한국 is Korea. 한국어 is the Korean language. So if you add that 어 on the end, 한국어, that is the Korean language, but 한국 by itself is just the nation of Korea. And this air particle is used when you're indicating a direction. So in this case, it means to Korea, 갔어요. 갔어요. Anyone know to Korea? Write this down. Anyone know what 갔어요 means in Korean? This last part. What would you translate that to in English? 갔어요. To go, very close. Jude, perfect. Went. This is the past tense of to go. This double shirt on the bottom indicates the past tense. So this is went. So in total, this sentence is 일 때문에 한국에 갔어요. It's work because to Korea went. That is the direct translation, but naturally we would say because of work, I went to Korea, or I went to Korea because of work. Either of those two sentences, that is what this sentence means, and this is what we're going to focus on in this live stream, is using 때문에. Okay, so it's very easy to use. You place 때문에 after the noun with a space between the noun and 때문에. So that little space is quite important. If you have the noun here, you leave a space after it, and then you write 때문에. What book is this? This book is Conversational Korean Grammar, and it is on Amazon. There's a link to it in our bio, and we also have PDF copies available if you want to check out a PDF. Okay, so let's look at some examples of 때문에 and it being used. Here's one here, 눈 때문에. What is 눈 in Korean? There's actually two words that 눈 can mean, but if you say either of those words, it's a great answer. I'll accept it. If you know what 눈 is, ember, perfect. It means eyes and also snow. So it could be because of eyes, but more likely it's because of snow. So because of the snow is another way to use 눈 때문에. And then after this, you put whatever result happens, right? We're going to do some more examples with that later. What about this one? 시험 때문에. Anyone know what 시험 means in Korean? 시험. Jude, perfect. Exam. Yes, 시험 means exam or test. So because of the test or because of the exam, something happens after this. You know, because of the exam, I'm going to the library, or because of the exam, I'm stressed, something like that. We're going to do some more examples soon. And then this third one here, corona. This is actually an English word written in Korean. You probably know this word. It's a very hot topic a few years ago. Can you believe it's already been a few years since the coronavirus? But corona is the coronavirus, so corona 때문에 is because of the coronavirus. COVID-19, yeah, perfect. Thank you, Ember. Okay, so now let's look at some example sentences. We probably won't do all of these, but we'll do a couple of them. Starting with the first one here. So, 눈 때문에 집에 못 가요. Okay, so let's break this down. First off, this 눈, right? We know this means snow. So because of the snow, some result is happening, right? Some result. Okay, so what is this? What's going on here? The first important word to know is this 집. 집에. 집 is the noun, and it's a very common noun. I'm sure people here know this noun, 집. Because of the Kiwi, yes, you've got it. Perfect. Good job. Home, yes, this 집 is home. And this air, same as this air up here, means is a directional particle to show that you're going to some direction. So to home, 뭔가요. This 못 here, this 못 you use before a verb to say that you cannot do something. You cannot do something. We learned it in an earlier lesson in this book. We practiced 못 to talk about things that you cannot do. So 눈 때문에, because of the snow, 집에 못 가요. I cannot go home. Now, a little pronunciation tip. This 못 here, when it's written by itself, it just sounds like 못, right? With kind of even like a D sound on the bottom, 못. But when it's followed by a gyuk here, there's actually a sound change rule that happens. And this 못 is pronounced like 몽. When it's followed by a gyuk. You don't have to know this necessarily. If you say 못 가요, people will still understand you. But naturally, it's 못 가요. I cannot go. Okay. What about this next one? 일 때문에 미국에 갔어요. So this is very similar to this example sentence, right? So we can probably use this quite a lot to help us. But if we break this down, 일 때문에, this is the same, right? 일 때문에 means because of work, because of 상훈. Yeah, perfect. Amazing, that's perfect. Because of work, I went to the USA. 일 때문에 미국 is America. So 한국 is Korea, 미국 is America. This 국 is a character that's related to nation or country. So, and actually, mi is also a character relating to beauty. So actually in Korean, if you break down the meaning behind these characters, 미국 in Korean is literally like beautiful country. Beautiful country is 미국 or America. 일 때문에 미국에 갔어요. And again, we have this 에 갔어요, which means went. So because of work, I went to America. What textbook am I using? This is the textbook right here, Conversational Korean Grammar. You can check it out. There's a link to it in our bio. You can follow that link and check it out on Amazon, or we have PDFs on the website. Okay. Let's look at this next example here. K-pop 때문에 한국어를 배우고 싶어요. Okay, so this sentence is a little bit longer than the ones we've had before. It's actually the longest sentence out of all of our sentences. But there's a lot to break down. That's a very useful, good sentence to know. So this first word, 상훈, yeah, beautiful, perfect, you nailed it. I'm going to go a little bit slower for the people watching. Peace, yes, perfect. So K-pop, a lot of people have said already, K-pop is one way of writing K-pop in Korean. K-pop is kind of written a couple different ways in Korean. You might see other ways as well, but this is one of the ways you can write K-pop in Korean. K-pop 때문에, again, is our because, right? This is our because word in Korean. So because of K-pop. Now, remember that in Korean, you put the thing first. So literally it's K-pop because, but it means because of K-pop. 한국어를 배우고 싶어요. 한국어. Who here knows what 한국어 is? We had it earlier in this live stream. This word came up before. Again, a very useful, important word to know if you're learning Korean. Korean, ember, yes. 한국어 is the Korean language. Now, we have the object particle. Why do we have the object particle? Well, it's because this verb is an action verb. What is this verb? 배우다. What does this verb mean in Korean? When you 배우다 something, what are you doing to it? What is the action you are doing? 배우다. Yes, sunshine, perfect, to learn. 배우다 means to learn. And because it is an action, we show what is the object of the action, the thing that you are learning. We show that using the object particle. That's what the object particle does. It connects the noun to the verb. So 한국어를 배우고 싶어요. What about this 고 싶어요 part? What does that mean? What book is this? This book is called Conversational Korean Grammar. 고 싶어요. I want to, Kiwi, and yes, perfect. You attach this grammar form to the verb. Our verb here is 배우다, to talk about things that you want to do. Things that you want to do, you can attach 고 싶다 or 고 싶어요 to say that you want to do that verb. So 배우고 싶어요 means I want to learn something. What do I want to learn? Korean. Why do I want to learn it? Because of K-pop. So if you're someone who got into learning Korean because of K-pop, this is a very good sentence to know. Of course, you can replace K-pop with any noun that inspired you to learn Korean. You could say 한국 음식, because of Korean food, I want to learn Korean. Or, because of my friend, 제 친구 때문에 한국어를 배우고 싶어요. You can replace this noun with anything that inspired you to learn Korean and use this sentence to talk about your own experience. Okay, let's look at one last example, and then we'll move on to the other parts in the book. So one more example sentence here. We'll look at this one. 코로나 때문에 한국에 못 갔어요. Okay. So, corona, we had this one up here, we had this one earlier. Corona is the coronavirus or COVID. Irvin, perfect. That was a perfect sentence. Good job. Oh yeah, even better. Good correction there. Corona 때문에, because of corona or because of COVID, 한국에 못 갔어요. So, this part is similar to what we had before. 한국에 is to Korea, like up here, to Korea. And now we have 못 again, which we had earlier, which is used to talk about things that you cannot do. But in this case, it's the past tense, right? It's things that you couldn't do in the past. We know that because we're using the past tense marker on the verb 가다, to go. So 코로나 때문에 한국에 못 갔어요. I couldn't go to Korea because of corona or because of COVID. Okay, so let's do a little bit more practice. I'll learn something else. Another way that you can use 때문에 is you can actually end a sentence with this 때문이에요. 때문이에요 is to use as a sentence ending. And it's often used when you want to give reasons for something. So, for example, 왜 학교에 안 갔어요? 왜 한국에 안 갔어요? So first up, let's break that down, this sentence a little bit. This first word, 왜. Does anyone know what this word means in Korean? 왜? Where? Yep, that's the English writing of it. Ember, Carlos, perfect. It means why. This word means why. So we're asking a question. Why something? 왜 학교에 안 갔어요? What about this next word, 학교? What is 학교 in Korean or in English? 학교, to school, very perfect. Why to school? And again, this to is coming in. We know this to is here because of this air particle. This air particle is used to talk about directions. So, to school. Why to school? 안 갔어요? Next question. What is this 안 doing here? Why is this 안 here? What does that mean? When you say you 안 something, it means you... So, yeah, is anyone not? Perfect. Ken, Irvin, perfect. Not. You use 안 when you talk about things that you don't do. A negative form. Perfect. Yes. A negative form. And it's before this verb, which we know from earlier, means went. So, literally, why to school not went? 왜 학교에 안 갔어요? Why didn't you go to school? Now we have an answer. So what is the reason? Why can't they go to school? Is anyone can translate this into English? Why can't they go to school? 눈 때문이에요. 눈 때문이에요. Because of the snow. Perfect, Berry. Miss Blonde extent. Yeah, amazing. Because of the snow, or because of the snow, I can't go to school. And then in the second one, 왜 한국에 왔어요? Does anyone know what this sentence means in Korean? 왜 한국에 왔어요? We still have the same 왜, that means why. But what are they asking? 왜 한국에 왔어요? Why did you come to Korea? Kiwi, Ken, perfect. Why did you come to Korea? This answer, 일 때문이에요. 일 때문이에요. What about this? What is the reason? Why did they come to Korea? Kiwi, perfect. Because of work. Because of work, that's why I came to Korea. 일 때문이에요. Okay. So that's a way you can end a sentence using 때문에 versus using it just after a noun like we saw earlier. Okay. Now I have a very interesting case, a special case, that is very useful to know because there's a special form with noun 이기 때문에. So here, right, we just had 때문에 by itself with a space. Now we have noun attached 이기 때문에. So what's the difference? Why do we have two different ways? Well, it's very interesting, and actually English does the same thing. We have actually the same difference in Korean, but I'll explain that a little bit more soon. So noun 이기 때문에 means because in one is in two. Because in one is in two, so because one noun is another noun, then something happens. So, for example, 오늘은 휴일이기 때문에 학교에 안 가요. So, what's happening here? 오늘은, anyone know what 오늘 means in Korean? First up, the easiest word to know, I think a lot of people here probably know this word. Today, Irvin. Perfect. 오늘 means today. And now we have the topic particle. The topic particle is used when you're making today the topic of the sentence. So we're talking about today as the topic of our sentence. So what about today? 휴일. Now this is a little bit of a less common word. There might be someone here that knows this word, 휴일. Does anyone here know what this word means in Korean? 휴일. 오늘은 휴일이기 때문에 학교에 안 가요. Free time, almost. It's very close, actually. It's actually like very, very similar. Yes, mark, a holiday. A holiday. So it's kind of related to free time, right? Like it's kind of similar. But I'd say holiday is also like maybe a slightly better translation, but they're both very, very, very good. 오늘은 휴일이기 때문에. So, holiday, today holiday이기 때문에, because it is. Because this noun one is something else, is because it is. So because it is a holiday, 학교에 안 가요, we had this one before, is can't go to school. So because it is a holiday today, I can't go to school. So why is this different? Like why can we not say 오늘은 휴일 때문에 학교에 안 가요? Why can't we do that? Well, we actually do the same thing in English. If you say, so we have two sentences, right? Because the proper one, because it is a holiday today, I can't go to school, right? That's what we want to say. Because it is a holiday, I can't go to school. And this it is comes from 이기 때문에. Okay? Now, if you just said 오늘은 휴일 때문에 학교에 안 가요, what you're saying is because of holidays, I can't go to school. Which is like saying, because holidays exist, I can't go to school. Right? It doesn't make sense. You're saying because of the existence of holidays, because they exist in the world, that's the reason I can't go to school. It doesn't make sense. So in this, because we want to say, because it is a holiday today, use 이기 때문에. So we have a couple more examples down here. I'll jump to this so you can get a little bit of a better idea. Okay. So we say there are times when you have to use noun 이기 때문에 instead of noun 때문에. Grammatically, you have to choose between one or the other. They are not interchangeable. There's a grammatical purpose for using each one. Fortunately, it is relatively simple to know which one to use because we follow the same rule in English. And the rule is noun 때문에 means because of, but noun 이기 때문에 means because it is. Because it is versus because of. So, for example, 눈 때문에 집에 못 가요. So we had a simple sentence, I think we had this exact sentence earlier. If anyone can remember what this sentence means in Korean. 눈 때문에 집에 못 가요. 눈 때문에 집에 못 가요. I'm sure someone can remember what that means in English. Irvin, perfect. Because of the snow, I can't go home. Because of the snow, 눈 때문에 집에 못 가요. I can't go home. But if you say 눈이기 때문에 집에 못 가요, it doesn't make sense in Korean because it means I can't go home because it is snow, right? That doesn't make sense. In English also, that's very awkward and strange to say. And that's also the same in Korean. So the correct way to say is 눈 때문에 집에 못 가요, not 눈이기 때문에 집에 못 가요. But what about this example, right? This example here says 일요일 때문에 직장에 안 가요. Okay? First question, if we're going to break the sentence down, what does 일요일 mean in Korean? Does anyone know what this noun is? 일요일. 일요일, Sunday. Mark, perfect. 일요일 is Sunday. So, 일요일 때문에 means because of Sunday, 직장에 안 가요. Next question is, what is this 직장? 직장. It's maybe not as common of a word to know, but someone here might know it. 직장. It actually also has two different meanings. So either of those meanings I will definitely accept. Mark, workplace, perfect. 직장 means workplace. It also annoyingly or confusingly means colon. But in this situation, we can safely assume it means workplace, not colon. So 일요일 때문에 직장에 안 가요. This 에 안 가요 is I don't go. But without having the 이기 때문에, the sentence does not make sense. Because you're saying, I'm not going to the office because of Sunday. So because of Sundays, I'm not going to the office. It doesn't make sense, right? You have to say 일요일이기 때문에 직장에 안 가요. I'm not going to the office because it is Sunday. Because it is Sunday today or whatever it is, I cannot go to the office. Or I'm not going to the office. 안 가요. And then one final example. We have two sentences that both use the word yak. What is yak in Korean? Anyone know what yak is? 약 때문에 medicine, kin, perfect, kiwi. 약 is medicine. So 약 때문에, because of medicine, 졸려요. 졸려요. Anyone know what 졸려요 means in Korean? It comes from the verb 졸리다. 졸리다. Sleepy, kin, perfect. 약 때문에 졸려요. So I'm sleepy, 졸려요, because of the medicine. But on this sentence we have 약이기 때문에 먹고 싶지 않아요. So we have 약 in both sentences. This one just uses 때문에. This one uses 이기 때문에. And you can see how they're used to make two different sentences. They mean different things. So 약이기 때문에 means because it is medicine, 먹고 싶지 않아요. What does this part mean? 먹고 싶지 않아요. Does anyone know what that means in Korean? 먹고 싶지 않아요. We have 먹 plus 고 싶다. Irvin, yes, don't want to eat. This 먹 is to eat, the verb 먹다. This 고 싶다 is want. And this 지 않아요 is don't. They all combine together. Korean as a language often joins these grammar forms together to mean I don't want to eat. So because it is medicine, because the thing itself is medicine, I don't want to eat it. I don't want to take it because it's medicine. It tastes bad. I don't want to take the medicine because it's medicine. Versus because of the medicine, I feel sleepy. So I hope that kind of explains this case of noun 이기 때문에 versus noun 때문에. A very easy way to help you remember it is to remember this key rule. Noun 때문에 means because of, and noun 이기 때문에 means because it is. Okay, so now let's do some practice exercises together. First off, so let's try making our own sentences in Korean. First off, number 1, I can't go to the park because of the rain. Because of the rain, I can't go to the park. So what are we going to start with? We're going to start with this part here, because of the rain. Now, first question is, what is rain in Korean? Does anyone know what the word for rain is in Korean? It's a fairly common word. I'm sure people out there probably know the word for rain. P, Mark, beautiful, thank you. P is rain in Korean. And how do we say because of? That's the key part. Miss Blonde, perfect. P 때문에. So we don't need a particle. We can just say noun space 때문에. So it's just P 때문에. Because of the rain, that's all you need to say. P 때문에. Because of the rain. I can't go to the park. Okay, so first question. I see Sherry has the right noun. Beautiful. What is park in Korean? How do you say park in Korean? Sherry had it. It is 공원. 공원. Destiny. Perfect. 공원 is park in Korean. And what particle do we need here? Remember, we're saying I can't go to the park because of the rain. I can't go to the park. That's the action that we're talking about. So what particle is best to use here? Miss Blonde, beautiful. 공원에, perfect. Yes, Sherry. Destiny, yes, perfect. 공원에 means to the park. How do I say I can't do something? There's a grammar form or a word that I use in Korean to say that I can't do something. What is that? 뭔가요. Perfect, Irvin. So the particle we have is 못. 못 means can't, and 가요 is go. So, I can't go to the park because of the rain is 비 때문에 공원에 못 가요. Because of the rain, I can't go to the park. I can't go to the park because of the rain. Beautiful. Okay, next question. Well, next practice exercise, number 2. I can't eat gluten because of an allergy. Because of an allergy, I can't eat gluten. So, have a second to think about it. What you would start with. What would you start with when you're making this sentence in Korean? How would you do it if you're going to start? So, what you start with is the second part. You start with the reason. So, then the next question is, so what is the reason? The reason is allergy. Yeah, I don't know the word, yeah. Gluten is a word that you can just write down in English. I think it's gluten. Let me just check my spelling. Oh, wait. Hang on. So it's not, gluten's not the reason, right? The reason is the allergy. The allergy is the reason. Allergy. With Isra, that's a very good guess at the spelling. I had to check it myself. The spelling for allergy is allergy. That's actually how you spell allergy in Korean. Allergi. That's how you spell allergy in Korean. And because of, that's where our 때문에 comes in, right? Allergi 때문에. Allergi. Anyway, allergi 때문에. And then what is the result? So because of gluten, right, some result happens. The result is I can't eat gluten. Sherry, beautiful, thank you. That's perfect. So the first thing to know is know the noun, which is gluten. And again, I've got to check my spelling. Gluten. It's this. Gluten. So this is how you spell gluten in Korean. And then what particle do I need to use here? And remember, keep in mind that we're doing an action, right? The action that we're doing is eating. So with that in mind, with it being an action verb, what particle do I need to use here? I know people have already said the right answer, but just to hammer this point home, because it's a very important point of like knowing how to know which particle to use. Glutener, right? That is the correct particle to use because 먹다, to eat, is an action verb. Glutener, 먹, 먹어요. So, 알레르기 때문에 gluten을 못 먹어요. So, the shiat in 못 sounds like a digit or a iing. So, it's confusing, right? Because of these things in Korean called sound change rules. Basically, what happens is sometimes when different consonants are next to each other, they interact and create new sounds. So, 못 by itself has a D sound. 못, when you say this by itself, it sounds like a D on the bottom. But when it's followed by a giuk or a mium and some other vowels, some other consonants as well, it changes to a ing sound. So by itself, it's just 못, but when followed by 먹어요, it becomes 못 먹어요. It's one of those little tricks. And of course, if you say 못 먹어요, it's okay, everyone will understand you, it's not a problem. It's just more natural to say 못 먹어요. How often do I do these live streams? Usually I'm going to start doing them a couple days a week. I'm going to use different books in them. Right now I'm using this book, Conversational Korean Grammar. But I'm going to start doing them a couple times a week with some different books as well. Okay. Yeah, it's useful sometimes to go back and practice these things. Okay. So, next question. I want to learn Korean because of my boyfriend. I want to learn Korean because of my boyfriend. So, have a think first up. Take us a couple seconds to think, how would you structure the sentence in Korean? What would you do? What would you start with? Okay, so what we're going to start with is this part, right? Because of my boyfriend. Because of my boyfriend. So, next question is, how do we say boyfriend? Remember, you put the cause first in Korean. How would you say boyfriend in Korean? What's the Korean word for boyfriend? There's a couple different words you can use, but sort of a standard one, 남자친구. Perfect. 남자친구. Thank you. 남자친구. Now, you can also say 남친. 남친 is kind of a shortened version. It just takes the two syllables from the two words, nam and 친. But the full version is 남자친구. You can use either of them, 남친 or 남자친구. So, how do we say because of my boyfriend? Sherry. Oh, amazing. 남자친구 때문에, right? 남자친구 때문에, because of my boyfriend. You can add a chair here if you like. The chair means my. So if you're thinking the context could be unclear, if you think people might be confused, you can say 제 남자친구, my boyfriend, but you don't have to. You know, people are probably going to assume that it's your boyfriend as opposed to someone else's boyfriend. But in context, maybe you want to make things clear. You can also say 제 남자친구 때문에, my boyfriend, because of my boyfriend. What's happening? I want to learn Korean. Okay, so now we have our other clause, the result that occurs. And what do we start with here? Excuse me. The one we want to start with is this word, Korean. So how do you say Korean in Korean? What is the English word or the Korean word for the Korean language? The Korean word for Korean. 한국어, Kiwi, thank you. Beautiful. 한국어. 남자친구 때문에 한국어. And then next question is, what particle? What particle do we want to use here? Keeping in mind, right, the important thing, how do you know? How do you know what particle to use? You think about what sort of verb you have. In this case, the verb is an action verb, right? To learn is an action that you do. So, what particle do you need to use? What particle goes here? When you have an action verb, you need to have an object. Perfect, mark. You want to use the object particle, le, because it's an action that you're doing, and this is the object of that action. You use the subject particle, ika, for descriptive verbs. If you want to say, you know, Korean is fun, Korean is interesting, then you would use the subject particle. But when you're doing an action on a noun, like learning, eating, that sort of thing, you use the object particle. So 한국어를, to learn. Next question. What is to learn, the verb, in Korean? The verb to learn. Does anyone know or remember the verb to learn in Korean? We had people writing it earlier, I think, so I know somebody does. 배우다, Sherry, perfect, thank you. And when you say you want to do something, you add 고 싶다 to the verb. So 배우고 싶어요. Miss Blonde, you're welcome. It's a good tip to know. And it's a very simple tip. Once you know it, it can really stick once it clicks. But yeah, action verbs use the object particle, descriptive verbs use the subject particle. So 남자친구 때문에, because of my boyfriend, 한국어를 배우고 싶어요. Because of my boyfriend, I want to learn Korean. I know there's people out there like that. They meet a cute guy that they like and they want to get to know better. And he's Korean, so you want to learn his language. If that's the case, if that applies to you, you can say 남자친구 때문에, because of my boyfriend, 한국어를 배우고 싶어요. I want to learn Korean. Now, quick question, something to think about. If someone asks you, 왜 한국어를 배우고 싶어요? Why do you want to learn Korean? 왜 한국어를 배우고 싶어요? If someone asks you that, you can reformat this to say because of my boyfriend, right? Can you say the difference again so I can write it down, please? Oh, for the particles? Sure. So action verbs use object particle. Le. And action verbs are things like eating, drinking, learning, etc. They're all things that you do, right? Those are actions, they're action verbs. They use the object particle. And descriptive verbs use the subject particle. 이가. And descriptive verbs are things like fun, delicious, boring, etc. Those are all descriptive verbs. It's quick. You can screenshot that if you like to keep in your notes or write it down. It's a useful tip to help know which particle to use. It's not the only rule. There are some other rules as well, but that is a useful tip. Okay. Well, you're ready, I assume. If you want me to bring this back, just let me know. But yeah, so number 3, 제 남자친구 때문에 한국어를 배우고 싶어요. Okay, we have 2 more example practice exercises for this live stream. This first one is, I'm stressed because of exams. I'm stressed because of exams. So, have a think for a second. Think about the words that you know. See if you recognize any of these words. See how you can think in your mind. What would you start with? All those questions. Take a moment. Okay, so what we're going to start with is this because of exams. Exams because of I'm stressed. Yeah, blank page mom. That's a good way to help you remember it. Of the structure of the words in Korean. We're going to start with this because of exams. Okay, so now what we need to know is what is this word, this noun, exams in Korean? Does anyone know what the word for exams is in Korean? We actually had it earlier in this live stream. 시험, beautiful, mark, perfect. 시험 is exam or test in Korean. And because of, we know, right, because we've been practicing it this whole time, is 때문에. So, 시험 때문에 means because of exams. What is the result that happens? The result is I'm stressed. Stress, beautiful Kiwi. That spelling is on point. Stress is stress. In Korean, stress. And then what is the verb that we use here? So in English, we say I am stressed, right? But in Korean, they use a slightly different verb. They use the verb to mean to receive. Does anyone know what that verb is? To receive. You might know it, or you might have seen it with stress. Talk about people being stressed. But it's the verb to mean to receive. So literally in Korean, they say, I receive stress. Does anyone know? Or even have a guess? To receive. 받다, mark. Beautiful. 받다. And to receive is an action, right? To receive is an action. So, what particle do we need? What particle do we need to use? It's an action verb, so we use the object particle. Yeah? 스트레스를 받아요. I receive stress because of my exams. Or, more naturally in English, I am stressed because of my exams. Okay. Last question, last practice exercise. I'm not going to school because it's Saturday. I'm not going to school because it's Saturday. Now, be careful, right? Now we have it's a because it is. And we practiced this before. It's a slightly different form of 때문에. So keep that in mind. But it's the same process. We're going to start with the reason. Start with the reason because it's Saturday. Does anyone know what Saturday is in Korean? One of the days of the week? Does anyone remember what Saturday is? It's something 요일, 토요일. Wow, Gandalf, beautiful. Some spaces help with the reading, but you have it right. Saturday is 토요일. 토요일 is Saturday. Now, how do we say because it is Saturday? Because it is Saturday. It's different from just the ones we've done before, right? Before we were just doing because of my boyfriend, because of an allergy, because of the rain. So we just use the space 때문에. But now we have because it is Saturday. So what do we have to change? What do we have to add here? 토요일. We've got to add something different than we did before. 이기 때문에. Miss Blonde. Perfect. 토요일. 이기 때문에. Because it is Saturday, I'm not going to school. I'm not going to school. Okay, so this is the last part we have to figure out. First question, what is the word for school in Korean? I think someone said it before. Gandalf, you had it before. The word for school is 학교. 학교. And now, what particle do we use? What particle do we use when we're going to a place? When we're going in a direction, when we're going to some place? Kiwi, thank you. 학교에. And then, so 학교에 means to school. To school with Ezra. Perfect. 학교에. I'm not going. I'm not going. So Kiwi had one good answer there, which is 학교에 안 가요, which means to not go. There is another option, another way to say I'm not going to school. Does anyone know what it is? You can use an, and that's perfectly correct. It's very good. There's another option that you have that you can use, a different grammar form that means the same thing. Does anyone know what that is? Instead of saying 학교에 안 가요, there's another way you can say it. 학교에. This part's still the same. 학교 is still the same. This part changes. 못 is an excellent guess, although the meaning is slightly different. When you use 못, it means that you can't do something. So you could, if you're saying because it's Saturday, I can't go to school, you could say 못. But if you're saying I'm not going to school, there's another option that you have. The answer is 학교에 가지 않아요. So this 지 않다 form means the same thing as 안. It's slightly more formal. It's slightly more used in written language, but it means the same thing. It means for things you don't do. 토요일 때문에, 토요일이기 때문에 학교에 안 가요, or 학교에 가지 않아요. Alright, so those are all of our practice exercises for 때문에, this chapter right here. And that brings us to the end of the live stream. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And then if not, in a future live stream, I will keep going with 기 때문에, which is what you use to talk about verbs. So this time we talked about nouns, but if you want to talk about verbs, we are going to do that next time. Can we watch this live in YouTube? I don't live stream live on YouTube. I just do my live streams on TikTok, but I do post them on YouTube afterwards. So if you follow the link in our bio at the bottom of our bio link, there's a link to our YouTube channel. And I actually have the past live streams up there as well that I've recorded and posted. So you can watch this on YouTube, and you can also see previous ones on YouTube as well if you follow that link. Thank you. Thank you, Kiwi. Good to see you. Again, this book is called Conversational Korean Grammar. You can go check it out if you want to learn more or practice some previous chapters or future chapters. It's a big book. There's a lot of stuff in here. So if you like it, check it out. And thank you guys for joining. Hope you're having a great Saturday. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you guys. Bye.